Hi, welcome to Storytime. I'm Kimberlyn with Life's Work Yoga, and today I'm going to share with you a story, more of, of a reality check than a specific story, because I think we've all been there. I think we've all had an experience in which everything seems to be going wrong. Maybe? Do you know what I'm talking about? Welcome back. I'm Kimberlyn with Life's Work Yoga, and it's story time. Story time is an opportunity for, it really is meant as an opportunity for connection, for not only sharing our stories, but learning from them, so that ideally we don't have to make the same mistakes that others make. And I don't know that I'm going to share with you necessarily a mistake today, but more of kind of an awareness that we've all experienced perhaps. And that is when everything seems to be going wrong, right? You put all the work in, you set up the systems, or you connect with the people who are supposed to be assisting or helping or supporting, and one thing after another doesn't work as planned. I'm wondering if you've had this experience before. Now, I grew up in a household with a lot of children, and we were by name, my last name was Murphy. So we named this Murphy's Law. And that was enough for me at the time. Murphy's Law meant that, essentially, anything will go wrong at the worst possible time. That's the law. As common to my experience as the law of gravity. But really what I have learned, not necessarily correlated to, but perhaps accidentally related, is that when I got married, I took my husband's name. And so I was no longer a Murphy. But once a Murphy, always a Murphy. But the reframing has come as I've matured in my life, in the sense that rather than focusing on the obstacles, I want to continue to stay open to them as perhaps learning opportunities. When we get really, really focused on an objective, on a goal, it is often difficult to shift gears, right? In the sense that even as obstacles appear, we might not see them for what they are in their entirety. So kind of ironically today is that Tuesday, I'm here in the studio and wanting to record this live chat. But for the last couple of days, I've had no power in the studio. Now, I have heat, which is a benefit after the first few weeks of being in here with not having a reliable thermostat or a reliable heating system. That has settled. But now we're on to the next stage of challenge. And I'm toying, I'm uncomfortable with the idea of assigning too much credit to the hurdles that show up in my life, and yet at the same time recognizing that every single hurdle, even as something as simple as I don't have internet here now, I don't have electricity for my lights, I don't have my refrigerator doesn't work, right? So all of the things that kind of we get used to, right? We see as the norms. They've been interrupted because of this flow of my wall sockets not working. I think I blew a breaker on Sunday. But I don't know where the breaker box is, because this is not my home. This is a rental facility. So what do you do? That's my question. What do you do when obstacles show up, when hurdles give you pause and that you can't do the things? So the story from this weekend is that I hosted a mentee student of mine who is not only a yoga teacher, but she's also a massage therapist. And so for the Valentine's holiday practicing and teaching self-love. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Janice. Lovely to see your names popping up here today. So as I was saying, we were leading this 2-hour restorative and hot stone therapy yoga practice. And I sign up, or I arrive early, turn the space heater on so that the room is nice and cozy, get the water kettle brewing so that we've got a nice warm beverage on this cold Sunday. It's not really super cold. It's not super winter-like right now in Maryland, but still. So anyway, I've done all of the things. And then my student friend shows up, brings in her cart with this big kettle of stones, and we plug it in, and we decide, nope, that's not going to work such a great place because it's right in the middle of traffic, and I have a small studio space. We work with 6 people max at a time, so it's a very intimate setting. So she goes ahead and she moves it over to another location and pops it in, and then the heater stops, the refrigerator stops, the kettle stops, all the power goes off. Now, I don't tend to use the overhead lights because they're, what do you call that, fluorescent? They're the kind of the corporate lights. But they were still working, so I knew it wasn't a power in the entire building. So long and the short of it is, what do you do when the content of your event is these hot stones and yet you don't have a way to heat them? So we did have them hot because the kettle, rather than using the kettle for tea, we redirected that to pour over the stones to make them hot. So we knew we'd get at least 1 round of hot stone treatment. But if you ever had a hot stone treatment, the stones don't retain their heat very long. Otherwise, they wouldn't pass the heat on to you. So, hi Spring, lovely to see you. I've missed your face, my sweet friend. So here we are, and part of me is starting to crash, right? Like, fuck it. Sorry, if that's offensive, I'm really sorry, but that's where I was at. That nothing was going according to plan, okay? But we also had people arriving very, very soon. And I am someone who, if nothing else, I'm going to figure out plan B. So we take the heater, because it's very portable, the little space heater, and go start trying all the plugins in my little studio space. I have 2 rooms, and so I don't know, maybe there's more than one breaker. That's the way it is in my house, that I have alternating receptacles for different breakers. So none of them are working. So now we've concluded that there is no energy, no electricity traveling through any of the receptacles in my studio space. So then we go and try the hallway and the bathroom. But because it's the Sunday and the facilities itself are fairly shut down on Sunday, the hallways are dark. So we find a receptacle and we plug it in and nothing. And so we try another one and we try another one. Finally we come back and we're like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Like, we pause enough to consider. And then Angela, my student friend, she wiggles the cord on her rock bath and it works. So now the rocks are heating, but they're in the hallway, which means the door of the studio has to stay open so that she can come in and out. Now, the long and the short of this story, as I wrap up, is that sometimes you just have to do the things. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? You've heard me talk about this before in the sense that perfection is a falsehood. Perfection is not what cultivates connection and authenticity. Imperfection and recognizing that, what's our intention here? What's our purpose in holding this workshop and holding the space was to teach self-love. And what better way to do that than to be okay with the fact that things didn't go according to plan. So Angela and I got our stuff together, right? We reformulated, and it did help that the electricity was working. But really it was about sharing the challenge, but resetting the tone so that we would be okay with whatever happens, right? Yoga is all about being with what is happening right now. This practice of oneness, not just in our ideal world, but also, and probably even more importantly, learning to cultivate that connection, that oneness, that all rightness when things go foul. So, fingers crossed that I get some power back on today, mainly because I'm using my phone as a hotspot. I'm not technologically all that competent, but I'm using my phone as a hotspot so that I can use my computer to log in to be with you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to share the silliness. But more importantly than sharing the silliness is inviting you to consider, how can you reframe your life experience from love, from a place of foundational intention, and give yourself permission for the imperfections, because they don't define us, right? In fact, I think it was, I lost her name. President's wife, who said that we don't really know, maybe it was even the president that said it, but a long time ago, that we don't know the caliber of a person until we put them in hot water. We don't really know their character. And yet, here it is, right? In the sense that when we are tested, that's when our truth shows up. So I want to show up not only for others that I'm holding space for in a workshop, but I want to show up for myself in love, in compassion. I want to contribute to the overall yoga, the union of our beingness, of our authentic living. So how do you show up when life gives you challenges? Or what story can you share? Because don't tell me I'm the only one that struggles with hurdles and obstacles, that I'm the only one that experiences this mindset that everything is going wrong, therefore maybe something is wrong with me. In my healthy places, I know that's not true. And I hope you know that as well. But we've all been there, right? Thanks for being here. Have a great Tuesday. Share your tips, share your successes, share your stories, because that's what brings us together. So what's the point? The point of all of this is, honestly, to just be transparent. To share with you kind of the highs and lows of living my life. I get it a lot that people conclude that because I'm an upbeat, energetic person, that everything goes according to plan. And that is not the truth, my friends. I live in challenge every day, just like everyone else. And honestly, I don't share those on my sleeve with all my students, right? That there's a time and a place, and there is a relationship that we need to cultivate with people who can know our full stories. But that's not everybody in our life. Those are specific, special people who have earned the right and know how to hold the space for us in our woundedness, in our brokenness, and help us to reconnect with our center so that we can begin again. I hope this story touches you today, because even in hearing myself share it, it's gone in a way that I didn't fully expect. But I am grateful for the reminder that we are not defined by what hurdles and obstacles, but through our response to those hurdles and obstacles, we can define who we be in the world. And I want to be a person who shows up. I want to be someone who shows up in love and compassion and shows themselves authentically so that we can be seen and create space for everyone else who shares that space to also be authentic, to also feel valued and fundamentally know that they are worth it. Thank you for sharing. I look forward to hearing your responses and your stories of perhaps overcoming obstacles, some of which, mainly which, might just live right here inside your headspace. Have a great day. May you breathe deeply, move freely, labor lovingly, and live vibrantly. Namaste.